Imagine an engineering operation so extreme that it attempts to confine a thermonuclear plasma core burning at 150 million degrees Celsius. That is precisely 10 times hotter than the center of our solar system's sun. Now, imagine containing that apocalyptic heat inside a steel vessel that must remain hermetically sealed to a microscopic level, while surrounded by cryogenic magnets cooled to nearly absolute zero. Welcome to the International Thermonuclear Experimental Reactor, globally recognized as ITER, situated on a 180-hectare cleared site in Cadarache, southern France. This $25 billion megaproject stands as the most mechanically complex machine ever designed by human civilization. It is not merely a building. It is a synchronized assembly of over 1 million precision-engineered components. These heavy-duty industrial modules are manufactured across an unprecedented global supply chain, spanning 35 different nations, all converging on a single, highly regulated construction site. The ultimate objective of this colossal facility is not to generate commercial electricity for the grid, but to empirically prove the physical viability of fusion power at an industrial scale. The strict engineering benchmark for success is a Q factor of 10. In purely mechanical terms, this means injecting 50 megawatts of sustained heating power into the reactor core to produce a massive 500 megawatts of thermal output. To achieve this extreme thermal amplification, structural engineers and materials scientists must construct a containment environment that actively defies the natural laws of physics. The absolute heart of the ITER facility is the tokamak, a toroidal or donut-shaped magnetic confinement chamber. The sheer physical mass of this core operational system is staggering to comprehend. Fully assembled, the ITER tokamak machine will weigh an earth-crushing 23,000 metric tons. The vacuum vessel alone, acting as the primary pressure containment barrier for the nuclear reaction, weighs 8,000 tons. To put that massive industrial scale into perspective, that is the equivalent structural mass of 3 complete Eiffel Towers, hypercompressed into a single geometric pressure vessel measuring just 19 meters across and 11 meters high. Supporting this colossal weight requires a specialized foundation. The entire tokamak complex rests upon a seismic isolation pit, supported by nearly 500 anti-seismic plinths made of specialized reinforced elastomer and concrete designed to absorb violent kinetic shocks and maintain structural integrity during a high-magnitude earthquake. The thermodynamic extremes operating within this confined spatial geometry represent an absolute nightmare for modern materials science. Inside the reinforced vacuum vessel, gaseous hydrogen isotopes, specifically deuterium and tritium, are superheated into a volatile state of plasma. Through microwave heating and neutral beam injection, this plasma reaches the critical ignition threshold of 150 million degrees Celsius. Yet located mere meters away from this artificial stellar core, the giant superconducting electromagnetic coils responsible for shaping and confining the plasma must be rigidly maintained at a cryogenic operating temperature of -269 degrees Celsius. This extreme environmental juxtaposition creates the steepest temperature gradient in the known universe. The blazing heat of a star and the freezing void of deep space are separated by nothing more than a few layers of specialized steel alloys, a silver-coated thermal shield, and an absolute vacuum. The containment vessel housing this reaction is not just a heavy-duty steel box. It must function as an infinite hyper-clean room. It boasts an internal operational volume of 1,400 cubic meters. To prevent any convective heat transfer from destroying the surrounding machinery, and to keep the plasma fuel completely pure, the internal chamber must be evacuated by heavy industrial pumps to an ultra-high vacuum state of 10 to the power of -6 pascals. In this extreme state, any foreign particulate, a microscopic fleck of dust, or even a microscopic ingress of atmospheric air through a faulty weld, would instantly contaminate and cool the plasma, causing the entire magnetic confinement reaction to violently collapse. To interface with the extreme conditions of the plasma, the inner walls of the vacuum vessel are lined with specialized blanket modules. However, the most heavily armored component is located at the very base of the machine, the diverter system. The diverter acts as the primary exhaust and ash removal system of the thermonuclear reactor. It is constructed from 54 individual cassette assemblies, heavily armored with solid tungsten. Tungsten is a refractory metal chosen specifically because it possesses the highest melting point of all known metallic elements, sitting at 3,422 degrees Celsius. During peak operation, the tungsten diverter target plates must withstand a sustained steady-state heat flux of up to 20 megawatts per square meter. To visualize this thermal load, it is directly equivalent to the extreme kinetic friction and heat experienced by a spacecraft's heat shield during violent atmospheric re-entry. However, unlike a spacecraft that only endures this heat for a few minutes, the ITER diverter must sustain this punishing thermal bombardment continuously for the entire duration of the plasma pulse, which can last for hundreds of seconds. To prevent the tungsten from melting into liquid slag, an immense industrial cooling water loop is engineered directly into the diverter blocks, pumping thousands of liters of pressurized cooling water per second to aggressively strip the heat away from the core. Surrounding the ultra-hot plasma and the complex magnetic containment field is the primary boundary, the vacuum vessel. This is not constructed from standard industrial metal. The entire double-walled structure is forged from a highly specialized, nuclear-grade alloy known as 316 LNIG stainless steel. The IG stands for ITER grade. This specific material was engineered to withstand immense mechanical stress while simultaneously resisting the intense, high-energy neutron flux generated by the fusion reaction. Standard steel would suffer from severe atomic embrittlement and rapid structural degradation under such extreme nuclear bombardment. The vessel walls, ranging from 60 mm to a staggering 200 mm in thickness, must maintain their structural integrity for decades of continuous high-stress operational cycles. Encasing this entire inner tokamak is an even larger mechanical structure, the cryostat. Manufactured in India and shipped across the ocean in massive prefabricated segments, the cryostat is a 3,800-ton stainless steel pressure chamber that completely envelops the vacuum vessel and the superconducting magnets. It stands 29.3 meters tall and 28.6 meters wide. Its primary mechanical function is to act as the world's largest, most heavily reinforced thermos flask, by pumping out the atmospheric air inside the cryostat to create a secondary high-vacuum environment. Structural engineers completely eliminate convective heat transfer. This critical thermal insulation layer is what prevents the ambient heat of the French countryside from penetrating the core and boiling away the liquid helium that keeps the superconducting magnets chilled to near absolute zero. Constructing these gargantuan components across the globe is an unprecedented logistical triumph, but the true engineering nightmare begins inside the main tokamak assembly hall. The sheer scale of the lifting operations requires a custom-built, heavy-duty overhead crane system. Suspended high above the assembly pit are dual heavy-lifting bridge cranes. Working in tandem, these synchronized mechanical titans boast a combined lifting capacity of 1,500 metric tons. Their primary high-stakes task is to transport and precisely lower the 9 individual vacuum vessel sectors into the deep, heavily reinforced concrete assembly pit. Each of these 9 D-shaped sectors is a monolithic wedge of steel, thermal shielding, and superconducting coils, standing roughly 14 meters tall and weighing up to 600 tons. To grasp this mechanical challenge, imagine parallel parking a fully loaded Airbus A380 passenger jet, but lowering it vertically into a confined concrete silo. Now, add the ultimate physical constraint, the engineering tolerance for aligning these colossal 600-ton steel modules is strictly limited to an incredibly unforgiving 2 millimeters. A spatial deviation of just a few millimeters across a 14-meter-tall curved structure would result in microscopic misalignments in the magnetic field coils, destabilizing the high-speed plasma and rendering the $25 billion machine completely inoperable. Achieving this sub-millimeter precision requires an interlocking network of hydraulic jacks, multi-axis positioning sensors, and advanced laser metrology tracking systems that continuously monitor the spatial coordinates of the heavy modules as they descend into the pit. Once two adjacent sectors are finally aligned on their seismic pedestals, they must be permanently fused together. However, due to the extreme thickness of the steel walls and the highly confined, narrow geometry of the tokamak design, manual welding by human workers is physically impossible. To solve this critical construction bottleneck, the ITER project relies on a highly specialized fleet of automated orbital welding robots. These custom-engineered robotic mechanisms are designed to crawl along narrow, precision-machined tracks temporarily bolted to the steel surfaces. Operating in gaps sometimes no wider than a few dozen centimeters, these automated machines execute multi-pass tungsten inert gas welding. They lay down perfectly synchronized, continuous beads of molten metal to fuse the 60mm thick inner and outer shells of the vacuum vessel, operating with a level of consistency that no human hand could ever achieve. Yet the mechanical joining of the steel is only the first phase of the assembly protocol. In a machine containing high-pressure coolants, high vacuum environments, and radioactive tritium fuel, structural failure is simply not an option. Therefore, every single centimeter of the tens of thousands of meters of field welds must undergo rigorous, non-destructive testing, or NDT. Engineers deploy advanced phased array ultrasonic testing equipment and 100% volumetric X-ray diagnostics to penetrate the dense steel. These extreme quality control scanners actively hunt for microscopic voids, trapped gas bubbles, or sub-millimeter structural cracks that could compromise the pressure boundary. If the X-ray diagnostics reveal a flaw, the size of a grain of sand deep within a welded joint, the robotic welding sequence must be instantly halted, the flawed section mechanically gouged out, and the entire high-precision welding process repeated from scratch. Beyond the microscopic perfection of the robotic welds and the gargantuan scale of the steel containment, the sheer infrastructural footprint required to operate ITER is staggering. The entire machine is completely dependent on a massive dedicated internal energy grid to power its magnetic confinement system. To trap the volatile 150 million degree plasma, the reactor relies on a complex array of superconducting magnets, including 18 toroidal field coils, 6 poloidal field coils, and a central solenoid capable of inducing a peak magnetic field of 13 Tesla. This is roughly 280,000 times stronger than the Earth's natural magnetic field. These coils are wound from over 100,000 kilometers of specialized superconducting strands, primarily utilizing niobium-tin and niobium-titanium alloys. However, driving these massive electromagnetic coils requires an astronomical surge of electrical current. During a high-power plasma pulse, the ITER facility will demand a peak electrical load of up to 500 megawatts, drawn directly from the French national 400 kilovolt transmission grid. To manage this sudden, violent influx of power without destabilizing the regional electricity supply, the site is equipped with one of the most complex alternating current to direct current conversion facilities ever constructed. Huge banks of transformers and reactive power compensators ensure that the 68,000 amps of direct current required by the toroidal field coils are delivered with absolute stability. Imagine the energy consumption of a medium-sized industrialized city instantaneously channeled into a single building, dynamically throttled and controlled with microsecond precision. The central solenoid is the beating heart of this electrical system, often referred to as the largest pulsed superconducting magnet ever constructed. Standing 18 meters tall and weighing 1,000 tons, this massive central pillar acts as a colossal transformer. By rapidly pulsing a massive electrical current through its coils, it induces a powerful electromagnetic current directly within the plasma itself, driving it to millions of amps. This induced current is what initially heats the fuel and creates the crucial twisting magnetic field required to stabilize the superheated plasma ring. The mechanical forces exerted on the central solenoid during this violent pulse are astronomical, generating outward radial expansion forces equating to thousands of metric tons, to prevent the coils from physically ripping themselves apart under their own magnetic pressure. They are tightly bound by a heavy-duty, pre-tensioned stainless steel support structure, engineered to withstand immense cyclical fatigue over decades of operation. Simultaneously, the facility must operate the largest centralized cryogenic plant in the world. The cryoplant is an intricate labyrinth of high-pressure compressors, cold boxes, and heavily insulated vacuum transfer lines. Its sole industrial purpose is to continuously circulate supercritical helium and liquid nitrogen to extract the massive heat loads generated by the electrical currents and the nearby fusion reaction. Without this colossal thermal management system pumping thousands of liters of cryogens to maintain the magnets at -269 degrees Celsius, the superconducting wire would instantly quench. A quench is a catastrophic failure mode where the wire rapidly loses its superconducting state, violently converting the stored magnetic energy into raw thermal heat, potentially warping or destroying the multi-billion-dollar coils. Aside from the cryoplant, the heat rejection system for the diverter and the vacuum vessel is equally massive. The tokamak cooling water system is an intricate industrial plumbing network consisting of over 36 kilometers of nuclear-grade piping. This pressurized system must circulate up to 33,000 cubic meters of highly purified water per day to capture the immense thermal energy radiating from the plasma core. This heat is then transferred via massive heat exchangers to a secondary cooling loop and eventually dissipated into the atmosphere through an array of industrial cooling towers. A momentary drop in coolant pressure could lead to a localized thermal spike on the diverter's tungsten plates, risking a localized meltdown of the protective armor. Ultimately, the $25 billion price tag of the ITER megaproject does not purchase a commercial power plant. When fully operational, this monumental machine will not supply a single watt of electricity to the public grid. Instead, ITER is the ultimate physical proving ground. It is a highly instrumented hyperscale physics experiment designed to violently stress test the extreme boundaries of materials science, thermodynamics, and mechanical engineering. The data extracted from this machine will serve as the foundational blueprint for DEMO, the proposed demonstration fusion power plant intended to finally bridge the gap between experimental physics and commercial electricity generation. The true legacy of ITER is already being realized long before the first plasma is ignited. This megaproject has forcefully redefined the baseline capabilities of the global heavy industry. By mandating unprecedented metallurgical tolerances, ultra-high vacuum standards on a macroscopic scale, and the flawless logistical coordination of 35 different nations, ITER has forced the world's manufacturing base to evolve. It is an undeniable testament to human ambition, proving our capacity to artificially replicate the power of the cosmos within a cage of steel and magnetic fields. If you are fascinated by the extreme mechanical engineering and the raw industrial scale required to build the future of human infrastructure, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. We will continue to dissect the world's most complex megaprojects and the impossible machines shaping our tomorrow.